Hi, I'm Ildiko Spinfisher. I'm the founder of Life Retuning, a psychological human energy-based modality which sidesteps the mind. I'm known as the Quantum Wizard. I work with heart-centered entrepreneurs globally to unlock their greatest potential and upgrade their success. I run workshops and courses teaching about energy wisdom. I feel blessed to have the opportunity to share with you on the Bewoke podcast show, and I want to thank you for being here with us today.
Hi everyone, my name is Julie Salant and I am an animal communicator and transformational intuitive coach. My gift is that I am able to see negative energies that are blocking you and remove them with light language and bring in positive energy to bring you back into alignment. I'm also an animal communicator, and I really love talking with Ildiko because she brings the science to what our discussions are, and I'm the intuitive part. Thank you for being here. We're looking forward to having you on all the podcasts. Thanks so much.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bewoke podcast show with Julie Salant and me, Ildiko Spinfisher. And we are taking the theme of raising your vibrations. At the moment, it's winter, we've got stagnating energy. We can maybe feeling a bit low, a bit sorry for ourselves. So Julie and I are here to give you some tips and tools on how to raise your vibration, your well-being state, and your mood. So today we're going to be discussing the energy centers that you may know of as chakras. Julie.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ildiko. So we are thrilled that you are here with us on the Bewoke podcast. A little bit of an introduction. I have a very kind of funny story for you. If you don't know what chakras are, they are points on the body that have been identified long, long ago as circular centers that are fields of energy. When these can get blocked, they can get stuck just from energetic gunk. And when they do get stuck, well, they start at the top of your, the ones that I know start at the top here, but Ildiko will go down all the way down to your pelvis area. When they do get stuck, they cause a lot of issues and problems in your life, both energetically, vibrationally, which really can hinder you. I have a funny small story just to start this off. For those of you that are not believers of chakras or don't know what a chakra is, I have my first chakra retuning from a Native American woman, and I went in and I knew that I felt kind of stuck and down and heavy in my vibration, but I wasn't really, I was just new in my journey. So I didn't believe in chakras. I thought they were a bunch of gunk. I thought they were woo-woo. I thought they were stupid. Do these things even really work? So I went in and she said, that's okay. I'm not going to try and change your mind. After she did some Reiki on me, she opened my chakras up. I got up off that table and I said, I feel like a new person. Energy was flowing through me because the energy flows through the chakras. Yeah. So when the energy gets stuck, for instance, in your throat chakra, you might have a problem speaking your truth, or you feel that you're not connecting with people. So I got up and I said, you know what? I do believe in it now because I can feel it. They are real. And we are here today to discuss your chakras and how they can impact your life and how knowing about them and knowing how to clear them and the sensitivities to them will be a little bit more information for you to be more enlightened.
Yeah, absolutely. As Julie said, they are energy centers. And they are found in various parts of your body, but also I work with a 13 chakra system. So some of those chakras came online for me within the energy work that I do with the Human Energy Field database. And so as it stands right now, it may change in the future, but right now there are 13. And it's an ever-changing landscape with life retuning, with the way I work. I never say, that's it, we're finished. It's not a finite system. It's just an ever-evolving system. As our consciousness rises on this planet, as things are changing, we're moving much more into the fifth dimension, which we'll talk much more about in our upcoming episodes, but
Yes.
just touch on it, that it's a different way of living. The more we're doing that, the more energy centers or chakras are becoming available to us to work with. And this is what's happened over the last couple of years. Some more of these energy centers have revealed themselves to me. So today, what I want to do is to go through for you all of these energy centers and explain and talk about how they can show up in our lives. And it will give you a little bit of a guidance to what might be blocked or need to be worked with. As we talked about in a couple of episodes ago, color is a very, very good way of using vibrations to raise a chakra's frequency if you identify that that is the one that seems to be low and slow on your in your system. So the first chakra that I work with is called the Earth Chakra. So if you're sitting down or you're walking around, it's located a foot below your actual physical feet. So if you focus your intention and attention down a foot below your feet, that's where the Earth Chakra resides. And it's because it's not in our physical realm. Some of these chakras, the color associations are a challenge to bring into our third dimensional reality, to say, oh, I see that color, because because it's not happening on that level. So this is where it gets a little bit complicated.
Yes.
But the Earth Chakra, the way I see it, there are two colors that are sort of bound together. One of them is sort of a turquoisey color and the other is a brown. So these two colors I've been shown are sort of bound together. It's quite interesting because it's different from the other chakras, which are pure color chakras. But this one is, it's a special chakra in many different ways. So what does it represent in our lives? If your Earth Chakra is locked, if you can imagine a bath where you've put the plug in and you fill it with water. Now, if you walk away and you leave that water for a couple of weeks, when you come back, that's going to be pretty icky.
Yeah.
There's going to be things in there that you don't want to be, certainly not taking a bath in.
Yes, very stagnant.
Yeah, stagnant, because you had a plug in the water. It's not going anywhere. So the Earth Chakra, if it is locked for you, will start to stagnate your entire energy system. So what you need to do is take the plug out. So the Earth Chakra is about shifting sands in your life. You may be in a limbo state between jobs, for instance, or if you are moving somewhere, you haven't quite left where you live, and you're not quite living where you're going to. So you're in this kind of shifting sand state. And because our minds hate anything that is not concrete, not set, it's the unknown. Our minds cannot deal with that. They don't like it. So our energy field is also affected by this sort of uncomfortable state of, well, I'm neither one thing nor another. So that's when the Earth Chakra quite often can shut down and we lose our connection to magnetic Earth. One of the other reasons why Earth Chakra might be blocked is because nowadays in modern times we all wear shoes. So if you have a rubber sole, it is actually disconnecting you from Earth center energy. So one of the great things to do is go barefoot as often as possible. Have that connection in with the Earth. There's a book written about earthing, and I've read quite a lot about earthing. So apparently, earthing and being in connection with the soil, the actual Earth, helps to drop levels of inflammation, for instance, chronic inflammation in the body. So it has many, many beneficial effects on us if we connect back in with the earth energy. But certainly your earth chakra, if it is blocked and locked, will mean that you have a stagnant energy field. So just be aware that if you're in a sort of limbo state in your life anywhere, then you might be finding that you need to get that earth chakra unlocked.
And I just want to add in that actually, this is the one you had unlocked for me the other day, correct?
Yes.
So what happened to me as an entrepreneur, sometimes we are always transforming, as Ildiko said. We are never just in one static vibration. We're always transforming as humans, vibrationally, energetically. So if you are leveling up your business, which I am, but you're not leaving behind the old stuff. You may just be slightly changing your focus. So you are still in that state of flux. You're still got a little bit of resonance of, who you are, but you've also got some energy over on this side of where you're switching your focus to, or adding in more to your plate. My Earth Chakra had gotten locked. And as soon as she opened it, I literally felt the energy flowing up through my feet. And maybe, I just wanted to say, maybe that's why I feel so good when I go to the beach.
Yes.
Your feet are in the sand and that's shifting. So it just feels really good. So
Definitely.
I just wanted to kind of throw that in there.
Yeah, so you're right, because apparently wet sand is the best thing to be walking on.
Is it?
So, yes, it is.
Oh.
So you and me are very blessed because I live 5 minutes walk from my beach, and you're really close.
And I'm close to the beach too.
So,
it's amazing.
You're in the States and I'm here in the UK, but we got the same.
We do. We do. But I could immediately feel the difference when she opened that chakra. I felt the energy flowing in both feet up into my being. And I think I just wanted to illustrate that sometimes it can be a physical move. It can be a change in partnerships. It can be a change in jobs, but it can also be a subtle shift in you transforming into your higher self and ascension and consciousness.
Yeah, that's right. And at the moment, there's a lot of big energy shifts and sensitive people are feeling them a lot. So, me personally, I just check in with my earth chakra and just, open that if I'm feeling a bit headachy or my energy is compromised in some way, shape or form. That will be the first port of call to check in, to check in with.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a very, very important key chakra. So moving on up, the chakra that you may very well know about, the root chakra, the one that is located at the base of the spine. This one is vibrating with the color red. And we already mentioned red in various ways. It's associated with tribal energy, belonging. It's about physical security and safety in our lives. So if you have anything going on around, belonging to a group and things are not quite working out, or you're carrying any anger from the past with regards to maybe family situations or any other groups, like a previous workplace that you belong to and it's unresolved, if you have lower back pain regularly or tight thighs, then it may very well be that your earth chakra is locked. So these are the indications. This is the way the chakras can be a roadmap to healing. We can use them as a roadmap to healing.
Can I ask you a quick question? Is your root chakra strong? Are there chakras that are stronger than others? In other words, is your root and earth chakra stronger in terms of how it affects you versus other chakras, or do they all have carry the same weight?
Not really, but it's important to say here that every 7 years of our life, a next chakra will take precedence in the vibrational strength that affects our lives. So we start with the root chakra, which is, if you think about it, for a young child up to the age of 7, the family is very important. It's the tribal energy, learning to belong, learning to think the same, behave the same as the group, the tribe. And it's at 7 years old that the energy flips over to the Sacral Chakra, which is about I, in identity, my personal power. So that's when a lot of challenges can happen in our lives, because we are learning about ourselves as individuals. And, you know, parents can find that very difficult to cope with. Yes. Again, 14 years old, it flips over to the solar plexus, becoming the dominant energy in our lives, which is the seat of our emotions. So all the way through our life, we are every 7 years changing dramatically because of the vibrational state that becomes dominant. Wow,
I did not know that. Yeah. I did not know that. Okay. That makes sense though.
It does, doesn't it?
Yes, because every time there's an upheaval, that's when you're changing a chakra, which I didn't even realize was happening, but it makes perfect sense. When you're young, you're trying to fit in, learn the ropes. This is the way we do it as parents. But then you become more of an individual, and it continues along as your consciousness change and you evolve emotionally and spiritually.
Yeah.
Did not know that. That's so interesting.
I think it's 21, isn't it? That's 7 years on from the solar plexus, the heart chakra, when relationships become very important in our lives.
Very much so.
Romantic relationships, you know, looking for that partner that's going to fulfill our needs. So the heart chakra is all about relationships, human level relationships, not just with partners, but also with our parents, with our siblings, with our friends, you know, co-workers. There's many levels of relationships, but the heart is all about that energy of relationship. So yes, every 7 years it switches over. Then the throat comes into play 7 years after that, you know. And as you mentioned, you know, speaking your truth, having a strong, dominant way of expressing ourselves. We've been hunting around until then to establish ourselves. So, you know, 7 years on, it's 28, isn't it?
Yes.
And so the throat chakra becomes dominant at that point. We're moving into our true adulthood, our, you know, strength of character, and on and on. So, yes, it's very important to know which chakra is dominating your life at which age.
I did not know that. Wow. And of course, it would be about feeling not just stagnant, but safe. Yes. If you've had any trauma, we've all had trauma. Everybody's had trauma. If most of us, when you get to, I don't know, so let's just say 30 or 40 as a benchmark, everybody's gone through some stuff.
Yeah.
Even if it's not horrific, and hopefully it's not been for you, any of the listeners, but you still probably had breakups when you were young, when you were 15 or 16 in high school. You've been through things. So you've grown. Maybe you've lost a parent. Maybe you've had a divorce. So that's actually trauma that actually hurts. And does that live in the chakra until you release it?
Very often I find with my clients that if a chakra is locked, sometimes it's locked down on the energy of a trauma.
Yes.
And until I release that emotional charge, the chakra will not open. So it can become complex. It could even be that it's several traumas that are holding that chakra locked. It's not common for that to happen, but quite often there is one significant episode in somebody's life. There's a resonant relationship that's set up. The chakra is vibrating in a bandwidth of resonance, which translates down to color and, by the way, sound as well, because color is sound translated up several octaves. It's the same. There's a resonant relationship there, and also with emotion. So if the body and the system is carrying a vibrational frequency that is disharmonious, then the chakra can get stuck. It can get to hold that stagnant energy. So yes, sometimes you've got to release the energy of the trauma before the chakra can resolve itself back to a harmonious state.
And that's the beauty of some of the work that Ildiko does, is that once, I mentioned this on the last podcast, but I'll mention it again, that once she releases it, it's gone. It's gone. So it doesn't come back. But your chakras can get stuck again with gunk because we're living and we're changing.
Exactly.
If you were never changing, then there's you'd probably be either stuck all the way for every single chakra, or you wouldn't be changing at all, which both of those things are bad. You're not continuing on your evolution.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we were talking in the other podcast about how we eat color, and color is used in our energy system to balance up and harmonize. Well, chakras are actually balancing up systems as well. So they will let go of energy if you're overloaded. They will actually shut down temporarily so that your system doesn't blow a fuse.
Yes.
Or if you're not getting enough energy in, they will open up wider so that there's a bigger channel of information coming in and energy coming into your system. So they're constantly, you know, doing this job of just balancing out. Our entire system is a massive balancing out generating mechanism.
We are so much more complex than people even know, even in 2020.
That's right.
And as healers, I just want to throw this out there. As a healer, when I am working with people and pulling their energy, their negative energetic vibrations out of them, a lot of times I have to make sure that I get it out of me. I don't, because I can take it in, and then that shuts my system down. And then my aura will change, which I didn't even realize, which Ildiko helped me with the other day. I'm so grateful. But I'm just talking to the healers and the coaches out there. If you're an intuitive person, if you're a healer, if you're sensitive, you may pick up other people's junk even unknowingly.
That's right. If you identify with somebody's junk that you're working with, if you carry that vibration, we talked about this sympathetic resonance.
Yes.
As a healer, as a coach, you need to take yourself out of the equation when you are working with clients. It's very important, because otherwise you will be affected. It's like you are a sponge.
Yes.
And you can get saturated with that energy from your client, and then you carry that saturation, and it can last days, months, years even, if you're not aware of what's going on.
Yes. And how do they, well, we could have a whole conversation on that at another point, but I'd love for you to get through. So we started with the Earth Chakra.
Yeah.
And then we went to the Root Chakra. And what color is the Root Chakra? Is that
So the Root Chakra is red.
Red, okay.
Red. And then we go on to the Sacral Chakra, which is located just under the navel, the belly button. And that is the sort of individuality chakra. So there are 4 themes where the Sacral Chakra can show up in our lives. So that's money, power, sex, and control. So if we have any issue with any of those 4 areas of our life, the Sacral Chakra can shut down and can stagnate.
Well, that about covers our whole life, doesn't it?
More or less, yeah.
Money, sex, power.
Control, yeah.
Control. And what color is this chakra? Orange, okay.
Yes, it's orange. So it's a very powerful color, orange, if you think about it. It can be a difficult color to deal with. You know, it really carries a very high, powerful vibration. Not high, but a powerful vibration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if I was feeling stuck, this is a very common one, I would think. I would feel, would I feel less than powerful? Would I feel disempowered, disenchanted, very, maybe murky, kind of is what I'm seeing in my head, as to unsure of my direction?
Correct. Let's just touch on, for instance, narcissism, where you are being affected by a narcissist who is draining your energy, your life energy all the time, because they are psychic vampires.
Yes.
Your sacral chakra will probably be in serious trouble most of the time, because they're taking your life force. They are draining that life force out of you consistently. And also at the same time, making you, or rather changing your reality in your head, because they are denying that things are happening, you know, the gaslighting. They're denying that they are doing things. intentionally. We're back to intention again.
Yes, yes.
They're denying that they're doing things intentionally. They're lying about it. They are changing your reality so that you get to a point where you don't know what to believe anymore. Now that will utterly impact the sacral chakra. Yeah.
Very interesting. I'm thinking because I know somebody who feels completely shut down.
Right.
And someone who is claiming they're a healer, but they're not, is taking all their energy.
Right. Yeah. So
Interesting.
I would say check how you feel about the color orange.
Yes.
How you see it and how you feel about it. I'd love to do a comparison, a psychological state comparison with what kind of colors people are either drawn to or repulsed by, and to find out whether there's any sort of correlation, any theme or pattern coming up with those colors.
Absolutely.
It's fascinating.
And where they feel stuck, because once you can release that, what would change and what would that look like? For instance, as we talked about in the last podcast, if you hate the color yellow, but if I had some trauma and you release that around that corresponding chakra, would I look at yellow differently?
And I can answer that with yes, you would. Because that's, what I deal with a lot of the time with my clients is changing that state and releasing the disempowerment. But it makes me wonder whether somebody, for instance, with narcissistic tendencies would keep away from orange. It's a very interesting question, isn't it?
Wow. I never thought of it that way, but yes, absolutely.
Because they wouldn't like empowering somebody else. And obviously on some level, they feel disempowered. So that whole very subtle level, transaction that's going on energetically in the subatomic level, would that actually translate up to, oh, I don't like orange, I don't want to go anywhere near it?
Yes, absolutely. That would be very interesting.
Wouldn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Next on your list of to-dos.
Yeah, that's right. Or maybe somebody out there would be interested enough, I don't know, listeners.
Yes.
Do comment. Let us know. Do you actually know somebody who has these kind of tendencies, and you found that they don't like particular colors? It would be very interesting to hear from you what your experiences are.
Yes, please do comment, like and subscribe. We always ask you to do that, but definitely leave a comment or a question, because these are topics that are very important. And everyone has chakras, and I think everyone gets stuck from time to time, but that's very interesting in talking about the colors, what you're drawn to, what you don't like. And if you know of a reason why, they're very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. So moving on up, I already mentioned the solar plexus. This is the yellow that, you were talking about, and so was I, with that lady who said, absolutely, don't go anywhere near that. She ended up buying a yellow top after I actually retuned that chakra for her. So yellow is the seat of our emotions. It's where we experience fear, anxiety, that, butterfly in the stomach feeling, which you mentioned, and we'll come back to this, but feeling anxious and excited can get mixed up in the mind for people, but they both reside in this center, the solar plexus. And it's, solar plexus is sunshine. It's that big bright light, that kind of central sun. So we can look at it in those terms, that if your light is being dimmed by something, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling fearful, then your solar plexus may very well be the chakra that you need to address to bring that sunshine back into your life.
Yes, absolutely. And that happens to everyone that I know. They feel, that's why they always say, don't dim your light, don't dim your shine.
That's right.
Because sometimes no matter how much we try, we feel like we're not reaching the people that we want to reach. And you may feel like you're trying, but it's just not getting out into the atmosphere and the people that you want to hear you.
Absolutely. And at this point, I want to mention about SAD, or seasonal affective disorder, which people can suffer from because they don't get enough sunlight during the winter months, especially. So one of the great tips regarding how to raise your vibrations and raise your mood is to make sure, number one, that you get out and get some sunlight every day, because it's creating your vitamin D and your melatonin, and that's a chemical in your body that is helping with the serotonin levels as well, the feel-good hormones to secrete properly. But also, if you don't live somewhere where you have a lot of sunlight, get yourself a daylight lamp.
Yes.
I'm actually, because here in the UK now, it's dark outside. You can probably see out the window, it's dark.
Yes.
However, it looks like I'm in the daylight. Now, why is that? That's because I have a great big daylight lamp that is sitting in front of me.
Yes.
That is providing the light. And when I used to live in London, and I used to work in an office, I would go to work in the dark and come back home in the dark. So what I found was I was starting to suffer from SAD. And that's when I got this lamp, because it tricked my mind into believing that there was an extra hour of daylight and that I had been in the sun. So, that's a suggestion to check out whether maybe we can put some links in for the listeners about where they could find some of these products.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, it's really, really important to make sure that, your eyes are receiving the light, your brain is receiving the light vibration so that it's creating the serotonin, the feel-good hormones, so that you feel better.
Yes, I know that I had that when I lived in Connecticut, because I was so in the winter months, as you said, you get up, it's dark, you go to bed, it's dark, you come home, it's dark.
Yeah.
And I know from just not being in this, I always used to say, before I knew it was a thing, I feel like a plant. Like if I'm not getting enough sun, I just feel like I'm wilting and droopy, and
yes,
it's hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is. So, that will affect the solar plexus, and it's just really important to also to take care of our stress levels.
Yes, absolutely.
When you feel low, you can feel much more vulnerable to stress. And we are going to do a theme about stress and our top tips about that too, from a consciousness point of view, in further episodes. But just touching on it, it's really important to take care of your stress levels. So yeah, that's solar plexus. And then if we move on up, the heart chakra is the next one, which is green.
Yes.
And green is about nature. So our heart is connected into nature. It's that vibrational state of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is what plants create. The reason that we see things as green is because of the filter filters out red. So that's why we see plants as green, because the red energy vibration has dropped away.
Oh,
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And green is, of course, it's a very healing color.
Yes.
So connected into our heart vibration. It's to do with, as I mentioned before, our relationships. So this comes and brings in the love vibration. We can, we'll talk about sound as well in future episodes, but I just want to touch on the solfeggio frequencies, which are the healing frequencies. The scale of notes that our Western world listens to is actually out of balance and sync. It's not healing. It was changed in World War II, but we will talk about that as well in future episodes. But suffice to say that 528 hertz is the vibrational frequency that is linked to the heart, to DNA reactivation, to manifestation of miracles. And that's because when we put our heart into something, that's when we're putting this powerful energy in. We're passionate about something, creating something, and so that passion, that love of something, that powerful energy comes from the heart, and that's associated with green.
Wow. I'm just writing something down, because when you say I'm putting my heart into it, right? and putting my heart and soul into it. And most people who
Yes.
have their own business, that's what they're doing.
Yes.
Especially if you're intuitive, especially if you're a healer of any kind, or creative, you're putting your heart into it. Yeah. And I'm all about reconnecting your heart. So it's so interesting that it's green, which I find one of the most healing color. I love green.
Yes.
It's healing.
Yes.
I'm so drawn to it for probably that reason. And the heart is so connected to it. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's just such a beautiful color. You know, when you look at, certainly when I look at green, I'm just filled with this feeling of that growth that comes with, you know, when you get those first leaves that come out in the spring, and they're that almost intense acid green, you know, and when the sun shines through the leaves, it's so powerful and energizing and invigorating.
Yes.
So, you know, surround yourself with greens. Bring green into your environment.
Yes, yes. That's why you should always bring plants in or anything, and wear green colors. But green is very, very loving and soothing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Again, in further episodes, we'll really be unpacking the heart and the fact that we know very little, or have known very little, about the truth about the heart. So we want to reveal the truth, and how your heart is far, far more important than you could ever have imagined.
Yes.
And we'll look at the work of the Heart Math Institute and other organizations that are coming up with the most incredible research. But that's for another episode. So that's the heart chakra. Now we're moving off body. We're moving out a foot in front of the heart chakra. And this is the universal heart chakra. This is one of those off-body energy centers that you can't see, but becomes very powerful because it's all about compassion. It's your compassion center. It's where your heart goes out to others. And it resonates with a color that is not in our vibrational spectrum that we can see. But the closest approximation is pink. It's like a deep pink. So this center, this heart, this chakra, the universal heart chakra, is one of those chakras that came online through the work that I did with clients. And one day it revealed itself. So this really can get locked down when you experience compassion fatigue. So a lot of healers and therapists can suffer from this specifically. Also, if you're listening every day to the soul-sapping news, the sensationalism that is brought into the news, and the traumatization that happens when we are listening to the news items, when you get bad news consistently, your system doesn't have a chance to recover. Now, this is very important for people who are listening to our podcast. Think about it. If you are constantly in a state of trauma and feeling low, and you get no respite from it, you will end up sinking down into an absolute mire of depression, and feeling that there is nothing good in this world or this life. And this is what a lot of people are suffering from. And I have to say that what the media are doing is having a direct effect on people's health in general. It's the population that is being affected on a daily basis. So from my perspective, you can end up with compassion fatigue when you've heard too much bad news. And that's when this chakra locks down. And the compassion levels drop because we can't cope with overload. So it's important to get that chakra working again so that we can be compassionate to ourselves as well as others, and not be completely overwhelmed by what people are creating for us to hear out there.
100%. I agree with that. And as you know, we do not talk politics on the show.
No.
And Ildiko doesn't watch the news. And I have shut off all the news of political news. I like to be aware of what's happening in the world, but there is actual, in my perspective, my thoughts are there's actual hate going out from your TV it goes right into your living room, and it affects every single one of you. You may not realize it, but it'd be interesting to watch how at the start of a program, you might be feeling great with your partner, and then halfway through you're arguing with each other. Gee, I wonder why that is. It's not, it's beyond negative. It's actually hate from what I've been seeing. So it's something that we should all be aware of. And as she said, you've got to have your cup full to give to others. You can't be empty to give compassion to someone else if you don't even have compassion to give to yourself.
Yes, that's right. Your cup is being drained all the time. If you're starting your day, getting up, it's a beautiful day, you look out, you go down, you pop the news on, and within 5 minutes, you feel like the world is going to hell in a handbasket.
Yes.
This is what's happening. And there's this addiction to news as well, because the mind is always looking for where the threat to your survival is coming from. If the threat to your survival seems to be coming from things that are happening around the world, then your mind will get acclimatized to that level. So it becomes a habit and an addiction for some people.
Yes,
so as Julie said,
as
Julie said, I haven't had a TV for 10 years now, and I don't listen to the news. I haven't done that. That's a personal choice, but because I'm very aware as a master of energy what is happening energetically. And so it's something to consider. We're not saying do this or do that, but it's something to consider when you make your informed choices about how you want to live your life. But the universal heart chakra seems to be shutting down, very much with people that I've worked with, and it needs to be opened up again. So it's this deep pink color that is the closest approximation that vibration is at. We also have another heart associated chakra, which is found another foot out from the heart chakra, and this is the Transcendental heart chakra. Now, this is the one that is moving us into the fifth dimensional way of living. It's a beautiful chakra. It vibrates with the platinum ray. Again, you can't find this physically because it's a vibration that is outside of our human level experience from the point of view of what we can see. It is the pure vibration of love. That's the closest thing I can say to you, that it is just the pure vibration of love that is the most powerful force in our world and in the universe, because it's the creator energy, right? Love is the creator energy. So there's not really much more I can say to you about it, because it's a very new center that has come online. I've been working with it for about the last 2-3 years with clients, but it is very powerful indeed. So it's really shifting our focus to living our lives through that love energy and getting away from the ego mind state, which is what living in the fifth dimensional energy is a lot about, which is not the mind state anymore. So again, we'll talk much more about, well, what does that look like? How can you experience it? All of those things in future episodes. But here I just want to touch on what I know about this chakra, because I don't know what I don't know, and I can't have an opinion of what I don't know about. So I'm only going by the experience that I've had, that I do know that it's a very, very powerful, transformative energy center.
So I'm wondering, this is the first time I've ever heard about it, wondering, and especially since I'm so in tune with the heart, and that's my whole practice, hearts for animals, hearts for people, reconnection, we're all one. I'm wondering if this chakra is the one when you feel disconnected from spirit, from source, that's affected.
So In some terms, yes, but we've got some other chakras that are off body that are more to do with that disconnection from, your spiritual dimension, or
Oh.
your,
Oh.
yourself. Yes.
Oh, I didn't
Yes.
know that. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So when we come back into the body, the next chakra is the throat chakra, which we've already touched on. It's about speaking your truth, expressing yourself. Obviously, the voice, the power that the voice carries comes from the way that we feel about ourselves, our mood. Our voice actually changes dependent on whether we believe something or not. You can tell if somebody believes something, whether they're telling the truth from their voice vibration. If you really listen closely and you're listening to how they're saying things rather than what they're saying, you can tell if they believe what they're saying or not. So it's about self-expression. It's about how we express ourselves in this world as well. So
And what
that's
color is it?
blue.
Blue.
It's that beautiful, when you look up at the sky, that beautiful blue of a summer's day.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Very expansive.
And that could be why you don't feel like you're speaking your truth.
Yeah.
Or you've perhaps always been a people pleaser and always said, I'm living for my parents' dream of what they want me to be, which I went through personally.
Right.
And that can really shut you down because you feel stuck and you feel like you can't express yourself.
Absolutely. There are many ways that we feel that we are restricted in expressing ourselves. It can be because somebody is in our lives is trying to dominate our expressiveness.
Yes.
It happens often that that's the way, it's showing up. Whether you are expressing yourself by speaking or singing, I would highly suggest that if you're feeling that you've got some sort of block, which might come up as constant coughing or sore throats, or just feeling like something's stuck in your throat, that's a direct indication that you've got something going on with your expressiveness in your throat chakra. I would say that it's really great to do something like singing to help get your expressiveness out there.
Yes, yes. And couple that with raising your energy by jumping around and just doing something fun. Don't think about anything except for having just being in the moment, having a good time, raising your vibration. But you don't have to make it so serious, right? Sometimes we make life so serious. Just by by singing. I always love music and I always have to sing in the car like a crazy person, but it helps me. And it can, and sometimes that's the only thing that can get you out of that feeling of feeling low.
It's so important. And I'll just touch on it again with regards to the connection between sound and the chakras. So each of the chakras has got a sound, a tone that will, activate and resonate with it. But when it comes to the throat chakra, if you're actually singing, you can be activating your throat chakra because of the vibrations that your vocal cords are creating.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's important to be aware consciously what is happening within your body. And that's getting back to, being in the now.
Yes.
Being aware, energy aware, aware of yourself, consciously aware of what's going on with you.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the throat chakra.
That's the throat chakra.
And then we have one more. Is it or maybe more? Third eye?
We've got a few more. So we've got the third eye, which is our intuitive center, which is indigo. It's that beautiful deep midnight blue that we both love so much, don't we? Yeah, the starry sky, that gorgeous deepness. So this is your intuitive center. And if you think about the color indigo, it's this incredible, expansive, infinity feeling that you get with it. But if it's blocked or locked, you won't be able to connect in with your intuition. You'll have a problem with having that, that sort of sixth sense, that gut instinct, if you like, or just knowing something without knowing why you know it. Because, of course, your mind will jump in and go, oh, I want control of this.
Always. Beware. The mind's always trying to take control, the ego mind.
That's right. So it's just knowing something as a deep bone knowledge. And if that's not happening for you, you've got some sort of block with that, then it's likely that your third eye is actually blocked, or locked down, maybe on something that's happened in the past that it just can't get through, can't clear that energy, stagnant energy. So that's the third eye. And then we've got another intuitive center, which is a foot out from the third eye, and this is the cosmic third eye. This is how I called it, the cosmic third eye. Yeah. So this is your spiritual intuition. So this is the first level at which you can get blocked spiritually. It sort of translates up into everyday things becoming more, you interpreting them more in a spiritual way. So it could mean that, if you're working with angelic beings, for instance, as a lot of people do, you're not quite connecting in on that level with that energy. There's something there that's not quite allowing you to do that. So that's the cosmic third eye. And it resonates, closest approximation of a color is lavender.
Lavender, right. Yep. Mm-hmm. I'm familiar with that. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So moving on up, we've got the crown chakra. So the top of the head is associated with violet. It's that spiritual color, and it's really our first connection up from the head up to the more spiritual and higher consciousness levels that we can access. And this is the 1,000-petaled chakra, as the yogis termed it.
What does that mean? 1,000-petaled chakra. What does that mean?
1,000-petaled. So it means that it's a very, very complex structure. So again, in future episodes, I want to talk about cymatics, how sound translates into physical reality, and how we can see the patterns of what sound actually makes in physical terms. But they discovered that this vibration that goes with the crown chakra looks like 1,000-petaled lotus, because it's very complex. And so it's very high frequency. It's our first level connection into our spiritual nature.
Okay.
And we talked about, when we're talking about color, we're talking about the fact that the Christian religion, the vestments of the priests and the higher level ministers in the religious orders would wear this deep purple. And also, it used to be associated with kings, with royalty.
That's what I was just going to say. Yep.
In fact, at one point, you could be severely punished if you wore purple, because it was not of your rank. And it became very, very expensive. The purple that they used was very expensive because it came from the murex shell. It's a mollusk that they used to boil up, and it would release this purple dye. So there were only certain places in the world, certain islands, I don't even know where now, but that was where they harvested these shells from, and they created the dye. So the cloth that was dyed with that purple was extremely expensive. So it was only people in the royalty that could afford wearing the purple.
Wow. Wow. I knew it was associated with royal colors are very often purple and have been for many centuries.
That's right. And that's because it's this vibration. It's the spiritual vibration.
Yes.
The violet.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
And we'll get into, on other podcasts, we'll get into sound. I think that's very important, that I've never heard anybody talk about on a podcast, that I think that will get into how it vibrates and how it heals and how certain sounds may affect you, but that's a whole other discussion. But
absolutely. So we're left with 2 more chakras. The next one is your halo chakra, which is a foot above your head. Now, you may be aware of religious depictions of the saints, for instance,
yes.
or Jesus Christ with the golden halo.
Yes.
Well, we all have one. We all have one. And so the halo chakra is gold. And it's this beautiful spiritual vibrational energy, which takes us into a state where we start to feel connected in with everything. We start to feel that we are not just cause and effect, but there's a much wider relevance to why we're here. You know, our role here, our spiritual purpose, getting further and further from the ego mind state. So it's a very important chakra. Again, if it's locked, you will not be able to connect in. There will be some block to your spiritual dimension, the way that you experience yourself. And the final chakra is the soul star. Now that is located 2 feet above your head. And that is just pure spiritual energy. If you are focusing on the soul star, which is the white, it's that encompassing, we were talking about the prism and the fact that white is every single color in the spectrum.
Yes.
So this distillation. So in a way, it's like spiritual distillation, the higher realms of consciousness that we can access, where we feel that no matter what happens, we're going to be okay. We know we will be okay. There are no problems. There is no division. There's no duality. There's no, black and white. Just one. And this is much more moving into this 5th dimensional way of living.
Yes. And I'm thinking, I keep getting diamond, like the diamond sparkling with all the colors in it. Mm-hmm. That's what I keep thinking about and seeing.
Yeah. So it's an utterly beautiful energy to feel into. And that's the 13th. That's the final chakra in the system.
So all these chakras, every one of us has.
Yes.
And they can become blocked, but their job is to flow the energy. And then each one they're very, very intricate, each single one.
They are.
But you can imagine they're all in alignment. So if you're out of alignment, one of those is blocked, or more than one is blocked, then the other ones are kind of on their own, and they're not able to get the energy from the lower ones or from the top down. They work from top down and bottom up, correct?
That's
Both
right.
ways?
Really, our heart is the center of our energy system, because it actually creates the most powerful energy. But again, we will be discussing that. So the thing to note is there are these 13 chakras that obviously I work with and I know about, but there are many, many more energy centers within our entire energy field. It's a very, very complex system. So these energy centers are working with us all the time.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Well, we have gone over today, but we wanted to make sure that we got in all the chakras. This is kind of just a baseline and introduction for you to understand the chakras and how they work. And Iliko's been kind enough to give us some extra chakras that I didn't know that we had, but it's really cool, what they do, how they work, and the spectrum of the color associated with them, the sound associated with them, and the vibration associated with them. And I guess the biggest thing is we're not asking you to memorize these. If you want to, certainly we can probably link something down below. But it's interesting just to give you the information that you do have chakras, and that if you feel blocked in any of those areas, that's why, this throat, I'll go back to the throat one. If you feel stuck about sharing your truth of who you are, or feeling powerful or powerless, that's where there could be an area where you feel stuck. But at least it gives you an introduction to just the baseline of all the chakras.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, what we're going to offer today is I'm going to put together a chakra cheat sheet that you can actually download from us. We'll put the link in for you. So you just need to let us know where to send it, your email address, and we'll just send that to you so you can use that, pin it up, on your wall, and you can have just like a very quick reference point to just check in, what might be going on with you on a daily basis.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And as always, don't forget to share and like and subscribe. Tell everyone you know about the podcast. We hope that you love it. Ask us questions, leave a question, leave a comment, DM us if you want more information, and we will certainly have the links below to both of our websites, to our offerings, how you can work with us further, because this is what we're doing, is helping you become a more conscious and elevated and ascended person. You are a divine being in light and wrapped in these wonderful, energetic waves of just, there's so much brilliance in you that we don't even know about. We're just tapping the surface, really, to be honest with you. But thank you for being here. We're so glad that you're here. Thank you so much, Ildiko, for being here.
Yes, thank you so much for being with us. And as Julie says, you're all amazing, absolutely incredible. And we want to help you connect deeply in with your magnificence. So thank you so much for being with us. We're so grateful that you are listening and sharing all of this information as we are sharing it with you. And we'll see you next time. Take good care of yourselves.
Take care. Thank you.
We would like to take your hand and step into this year in a different, empowered way that no one is discussing. We invite you to come with us on this journey to show you a different way of being, to get to the deep truth of things, instead of having another year of ups and downs with the same patterns. In essence, we are going to help set you up for success.
We have a SMART 2-part experience just for the listeners. And the SMART experience is an acronym for: the S is for simplicity, the M is for motivation, the A is for action, the R is for reconnection, and the T is for transformation. And we are offering an expansive experience, first with Ildiko, who will remove blockages with energy, and then Julie, who will introduce the light language to infuse you with light, clarity, and positive purpose. So this is a large transformation in not only how you'll feel energetically, but also how you will experience and view the world and opportunities that are open to you. And this will be a session with each of us individually. If you'd like more information, please click the link, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the podcast.